Thank y'all for joining me this morning. I'm Rose from Grandma Rose's Open Pantry, and we're going to make a gluten-free, sugar-free pumpkin spice cake. My granddaughter's birthday was Sunday, and so she's coming to eat with us tomorrow night, and I am making this for her. One of her favorite uh, flavors is pumpkin spice. So I'm going to make her a pumpkin spice cake today. And I'm making it gluten-free and sugar-free. She eats sugar and she eats gluten, but when she's out here, she loves the things I make that are gluten-free and sugar-free. So I'm making this one so I can eat it. So the recipe calls for 1/2 cup of melted butter. And I've got that right here. I melted it in my microwave. And it calls for 1 1/2 cups of sugar, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 3/4 cups of white. But this is my brown monk fruit, and this is my white pure cane alternative sweetener. So that's 3/4 cups of the brown and 3/4 cups of the white sweetener, not your sugar, but your sweetener that acts like sugar. So it's a sugar substitute. Okay, I'm just going to stick that in there. And I'm not going to use a mixer with this because you don't need to. You just use your whisk and you just kind of mix it together. And it calls for 2 eggs. And these are room temperature eggs. If you don't have room temperature eggs, and what I did this morning, you just get a little bowl, put some warm water in it, and let your eggs sit in that warm water for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and it will warm them up to room temperature. So I'm just going to take my whisk and whisk all of this together. Now, this is a delicious recipe. My granddaughter Hannah, she had a little get together a couple of weekends ago, and she fixed this recipe in muffins, and they were so good. I said, Hannah, honey, I've got to have that recipe. So I'm just making it in a loaf today instead of muffins. So you just want to mix this up really well, get it smooth, get your eggs incorporated in real good. Then it calls for 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. Now, this is pure pumpkin puree. This is not your pumpkin pie mix. It is pure pumpkin puree, 100% pure. If it was pumpkin pie mix, that's what it would have on the label. That already has all of your spices in it. Well, I don't like those spices that are in it. And this one, you can add your own spices. And the other one is, the spices are so strong. I made the mistake one time of getting that one. And I said, I will never do that again. So, and I have tried not to ever do that again. But for people that like it, I mean, that's wonderful. But it's good that they have something like that for people that like it, but I just don't prefer it. So, all right, I'm going to mix my pumpkin in here with my sugar or my sweetener, my eggs, my butter. Now, in a loaf, if you're making a loaf, you don't have to use your stand mixer or your hand mixer. You can just do it with a whisk, and it works real well. Now, to this, it calls for 1 3/4 cups of flour, but I'm going to put my spices in first. It calls for pumpkin pie spice. I'm not fond of it. It has ginger in it. This is apple pie spice. It does not have ginger, and it calls for 1 tablespoon. So if you like the pumpkin spice, you can substitute it for the apple, but this is the apple pie spice. This does not have ginger. It has cinnamon, allspice, and nutmeg. The pumpkin spice has ginger. So, all right, and to that, now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Sounds like a lot of spice, but this is a pumpkin spice, and it is delicious. Then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, then we'll mix this all up good. Get it all incorporated. Oh, it smells so good. I wish y'all could smell it. And this is a really good recipe. I will have the recipe down in the description box for any of you that want to make it. Now, she put a streusel topping on hers, but I'm not going to put the streusel topping on mine. I'm going to use it's a little glaze like that. I've got a fresh apple cake that I make a glaze for, and so I'm just going to put that in this, and I'm going to put a little maple flavoring in it because the maple flavoring goes so well with your pumpkin spice. Now, okay, I've got my vanilla. All right, in this is 1 3/4 cups of gluten-free baking flour. When I bake, I use Bob's Red Mill baking flour. Honey, if you'll hold on. I've showed y'all this before, but this is what I like for baking. It's Bob's Red Mill gluten-free 1-to-1. That means if you put 1 cup of flour, you put 1 cup of this baking flour. And it
not
is
in the same one.
What?
1-to-1, 1 cup of that to 1 cup of that, but not in the same item. You use
no. If you're going to use 1 cup of flour, regular flour, you would use 1 cup of that's what one. That's that's what the 1-to-1.
My brain just
well, and it might have confused someone else out there too. So that was a good point. Yeah, if you're going to use 1 cup of regular flour, then you would use 1 cup of this. It's 1-to-1, and it's the same way with your sweeteners. Usually, most of them are 1-to-1. If you're going to use a cup of sugar, you would use a cup of sweetener. So, all right. Now in here, I have got 1 3/4 cups of my Bob's Red Mill baking flour, and I have got 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So I'm going to put that in and mix that up real good. I might need a spoon. Let me get a spoon. Okay. All right. It's going to be a thick batter, but that's the way it's supposed to be, I guess. That pumpkin, though, is going to give it some moisture. Because the pumpkin is any fruit that you put in, and I think is pumpkin a fruit, Roy?
No, it's a
what is it?
vegetable.
Oh, it's like a squash, kind of. Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, it's going to give it. Okay. It shows you how much I know.
Well, and I might find out tomorrow that I'm wrong.
Okay. All right. Now, like I say, this is a thick batter, but you just want to incorporate your flour in your batter. That's all you want. Now, let me make sure I've got everything. Can of pumpkin, 1/2 cup of melted butter, 3/4 cups of brown sugar or brown sweetener, 3/4 cups of white, 2 eggs, 1 3/4 cups of flour, a tablespoon of apple pie spice, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. So now I've got this mixed up. I've got my oven set on 375. And I have sprayed my loaf pan with Baker's Joy. It's got flour in it. You can use any name brand that has the flour in it. That's just what I usually use. So I'm going to put my cake mix in my, and I think this is like a 9.5 by 5.5 or 6 loaf pan. I measured it a little bit ago, and because I've got some smaller ones, but I wanted mine in the bigger one. Okay. All right. We're about to put this in the oven. I made one of these last year, not by this particular recipe, but it was so good. And I made it gluten-free, sugar-free.
You ever put nuts in here?
I'm putting nuts on the top. I do, but Kale doesn't like nuts in cooked things. He doesn't like them in brownies and stuff. And he's going to be eating some of this, and they're going to be taking it home with them. So
You missed your pan.
Oh my goodness. I did, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Okay. How did I do that?
It just slipped off.
It did. Okay. I'm going to smooth this out. And we're going to put this in a 375-degree oven. Now, Hannah gave me the time for the little muffins that she made. So I'm saying this is going to take probably maybe 45 to 50 minutes. But whenever it gets ready, we're going to come back and I'm going to have a glaze ready and we're going to put it over it. Okay.
You're stirring up something else, aren't you, Grandma?
I am. This is my glaze that I'm going to put over my, this is my pumpkin bread.
Oh, my.
This is how it turned out.
Oh, my. Isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm. And I am cooking the glaze for it. And in this glaze, it's a half a stick of butter, 1/4 cup of milk. I need to turn my timer on because it's got to cook for 2.5 minutes. It's a stick of butter, 1/4 cup of milk, 3/4 cups of brown sugar. Now I use my brown monk fruit, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and I put about a half a teaspoon of maple flavoring in it, maple extract. So, okay, it's got to cook. We're gonna let it cook for 2.5 minutes. And then I'm going to put it, and it says put it over the hot cake. So I'm going to put it over my hot cake, and then I'm going to spread. I made some glazed pecans yesterday. And what I did, I took and put them in my little food processor, and I just chopped up some glazed pecans. And when I get my topping over it.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm going to spread those glazed pecans on top. And Kale doesn't like nuts and things, but he can rake them off. I think he'll eat them on top of that. He just doesn't like them cooked. He doesn't like them cooked in things like brownies and cakes and stuff like that. But now he loves nuts. He just don't like them cooked in his food. Okay, I'm just going to keep, you want to let him see what this looks like, baby? And that maple smells so good. So it said 2.5 minutes. It's already been 1 minute. My stove don't have 2.5, so I set it on 3. And when it gets down to 30 seconds, I'll take it off. That way I'll know it's 2.5 minutes.
Otherwise, you'd have to cook everything in even minutes, wouldn't you? According to your stove.
I would.
Well, that's the problem, darling.
Okay, it's down to 56 seconds. Well, that doesn't look like it's going to be very thick, does it?
It'll thicken up.
Oh, well, but it is a glaze, so. All right, we're almost there. And it said put it over a hot cake, and that's what we're going to do. All right. 30 seconds. All right. We're going to turn it off. And I'm going to put it over this hot cake. And I guess it's just a glaze. But I think what's going to happen is going to kind of crystallize.
Wow.
This recipe is for a bigger cake, so I'm probably not going to use it all. And it's going to soak down in that cake some. My, doesn't that look good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I'm going to put on it right now. But when this dries, then I may put some more. And I'll clean it up. I'll get all this that's run down the sides. I'll get all that off. So now I'm just going to spread my glazed nuts that I ground up over this. And if I put any more of the glaze over it, it'll be okay. If it goes on top of these nuts, it'll just make them better.
There's a video she made showing you how to glaze these nuts.
Yeah, I'm going to upload it in a few minutes. Okay. Now, this is our pumpkin spice bread loaf right here. Let me get my spoon. That's already started glazing over. Yeah. What it's going to do, it's going to get hard. Yep. So I'm just getting it up and putting it back over my, and I'll clean my little dish up. This is for a big cake. I use it on my apple cake. Okay, it's already getting a glaze over it. Ooh. Y'all.
Remember that your sweets cooked with artificial, well, they're natural sweeteners, but they're not sugars. These sugar substitutes that Rose has used, just like monk fruit and swerve and pure cane. Remember, when they're hot and they fresh come out of the oven, if you taste of them, if you slice this right now, it might have a little different flavor, a little bit of bitterness, because the vapors from those have not gone out of the food yet. But if you let it cool for a little bit, when it gets cold, it's really sweet and without that little bit of bitterness taste.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that about those sweeteners, then you cut into something that's hot that you sweeten with it, and a lot of times it has that little flavor, and you'll think, well, this isn't going to be good, but it is. It'll be delicious as soon as you let it cool.
I forgot to put my microphone on. Oh, okay. Well, this is delicious. You can see it's already glazed, see? And I'll just take my cloth, and I'll just clean that up.
Oh, that's pretty.
That is beautiful. I am so pleased with the way that glaze turned out. Okay, this is my pumpkin spice cake loaf, and we are surely going to enjoy it tomorrow night.
It's a birthday cake for Elena.
It is, because she loves this kind of thing. She loves it. So, and she's going to like this one. I am.
Grandmama likes it too.
Love that glaze. That is so good. All right. Y'all,
sugar-free, gluten-free, healthy, delicious.
Y'all subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell, and I'm going to make a fresh apple cake later, so I'm probably going to do a video on that. So, love y'all. See you next time.